Welcome to Health Matters with Dr. Nelson Bulmash, sponsored by the UI Radio Network at uiradionetwork.org. Catch us on Facebook and Instagram at United Intentions and Twitter at Higher Intention. Look for us on 99.1 FM, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, and many more. Over the next hour, we'll introduce you to some fascinating people and engaging discussions that may provide you with answers to assist in revolutionizing your own personal health. And now, here's Dr. Nelson.
Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Nelson Bulmash, the host of Health Matters on the UI Media Network. Before we get started, I love to thank all the people that help me be who I am and help me do what I am doing. So all those friends, fans, and followers who are right here in Atlanta, Georgia, listening to me on WDJY FM 99.1, thank you and welcome. To those amazing folks in the states of Kentucky and Ohio, it is such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Health Matters. And for the rest of you who are catching the show either on Binge Networks TV or on all the major social media platforms like iHeartRadio, Blog Talk, Stitcher, Spreaker, Facebook Live, and more. Thank you. You are my bread and butter. And my analytics keep going up, which means you're coming back and you're sharing my show, and it's getting larger and larger. It is such a privilege to be here and to have the ability to get great guests and great information out to you. Today's no exception, folks. I am dedicating today's show to all of you who own your own businesses, all of you who are entrepreneurs, including those of you who have your own lemonade stand. This is going to be a show that you're going to want to listen to over and over again because we have Tom Cheshire, who is arguably, he doesn't like to be called an expert because that has a certain connotation that if you're an expert, you have to prove that you are the person. However, if there were a person available to prove that he or she happened to be the person at the top of their game, he would be very compelling. So we're going to talk about all things regarding branding and marketing your position on and offline. Yellow pages are gone, folks. I never thought I'd say that in my lifetime. But now Google is king and Google rules. Tom and I are going to have a conversation about how you can be the king of your domain. I, for example, went many years and I couldn't get beyond page 3 or 4 in my own community as a healthcare professional using standard things, writing articles, doing search engine optimization. My position almost never changed. So I had a very interesting interaction with Tom Cheshire, who is a very, very high-level specialist, authority or guru, whichever word you like to use, on helping you find out who you are, finding the superhero, I might say, in you, finding the superhero in you, and helping the world get who you are as that expert, as that authority. So after today, you're going to have a way of helping yourself. Go like from me, from page 4 on Google to, who knows, maybe even page 1. Tom, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Health Matters.
Absolutely, Nelson. It's amazing that I tell you, with all those accolades, I don't know what to say about myself anymore. I mean, you did it all, but it's kind of interesting. I had the great privilege of being in Atlanta, Georgia, not too long ago with you.
Yes,
and seeing you in your office, and also having people on your show.
Right.
You've had one of my dear client, Shay Levister, your Love Diva,
right,
on your show, and she did an absolute blowout job. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the show.
She's amazing. She's a force of nature.
Yeah, your Love Diva. So it's kind of hard for me to follow Love, but let's get into a little bit about what I do. My name is. That's interesting. You like that one?
I like that. yes, I did.
Fall in love with me.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it. Anyway, basically, I've been in the media marketing business for over 30 years. Worked for the Yellow Page, Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages, basically in your area, but I sold Yellow Page advertising. I designed Yellow Page advertising. It was my job to make each and every one of my clients stand out in a classification, whether it's a plumbing contractor or a chiropractor or an attorney or whatever, make them stand out. Now, part of it could have been the size of the ad. That might have mattered. But a lot of it was the content of what you put in that ad that brought people into the door to want to choose them over all the other competitors out there.
Right.
Well, so doing that successfully for over 25, 30, almost 30 years, and the top 5% of the company and all that. When I retired back in 2011, I saw a real need still in business for businesses to be able to be found online. Like you said in the beginning of your show, there's no yellow pages anymore. There's
No,
no
it's gone.
two A through L, M through
Right.
Z, two volumes. You can put them against your door. You can stop the cat from getting in. You can do all kinds of things with them. That might even have been your security while
Yes.
you're on the road and in a hotel room. Stick them yellow pages up against the door. They can't get through those books. But so it's kind of amazing now that Google is king. Google is where you want to be, and you want to set up your branding and your positioning. Arguably, it said 99% of the business out there believe that positioning and branding yourself on Google
Right.
is the primary thing that you need to do right now to get ahead in your marketplace. So, how do you do that? I mean, businesses, I sold SEO, I paid pay-per-click campaign, geo-targeted display ads, all that stuff to
Sure.
drive people
Right.
to the top of Google. And that's all fine. I have nothing against any of that anybody's doing.
Right.
But what I saw was the real need to get the media platforms, NBC, ABC, CBS, all the networks out there to look at you and have you stand out and give you that third party recommendation from their site, from their channel. So what we did is we formed Authority Branding and Position Agency. I was awarded an Authority Branding and Positioning Agency in San Antonio, Texas, to do just that. So I'm a contributing writer to Small Business Trendsetters magazine.
Yes.
You can go online and Google it. You're going to see a whole list of celebrities. Mark Cuban, Oprah Winfrey, Damon John, Howard Stern. The list goes on and on and on. So Small Business Trendsetters is a place where a lot of these celebrities have got their status,
right,
their branding, and their positioning. And I'm a contributing writer there. Also on Business Innovators magazine. That's another one. That's one of the top, highest recommended places to go to find an expert or an authority. They consider themselves to be an authority and to brand your business online. And then after that, I added Authority Press Wire. Authority Press Wire is undisputably the largest authority branding distribution network out there. So what it means basically is that we have over 375 affiliate partners that have joined up with us,
right,
major media networks, including your premium outlets, NBC, ABC, CBS,
Fox News.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, industrial feeds, financial feeds, newspapers, and regional sites. All these have come together because they want to use us to provide media-worthy stories to Google. Google is looking for media-worthy stories. They're looking for content because content is king.
Right.
Content rules with Google. So if you type in something you're looking for in Google, automatically you see all the words match up. Google's searching desperately with their algorithm and all their spiders to find that perfect match that you're looking for.
Right.
Whether it's a chiropractor or whether it's an attorney, it doesn't matter. So everybody's fighting for that position of number one. Okay.
Yes.
Well, what I've learned that positioning and branding yourself as an authority is the single best thing, because being able to get on those media sites. So what happens if I write my article about Dr. Nelson
Bulmash, right?
Bulmash, yeah, we'll get that one right. Okay. If we write that article about you, okay, and it gets picked up by NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox, and 375 networks, what they technically do is they take that article, they take it to their network, index it on their website.
Yes.
Then they take that article as it is their article. They take ownership of that article, then now send it over to Google. Can you imagine 375
premium networks out there? Oh my God.
Premium networks.
Wow.
Flooding Google with your story of how great you are?
Tom, this is incredible because for years, I mean, I just celebrated 28 years in business. And I could never understand how I couldn't reach the first or second page, according to Google, in my own city as a healthcare professional. I'd write articles, I have a radio show, and nothing ever significantly moved me higher on the page. So what I'm hearing from you now is you've developed these ways, or there are these ways, where, number one, you become an expert in your field on Google, but even better than that, you become seen as an expert by Google. That's what I'm hearing. Am I correct?
Absolutely correct. I mean, it's one thing. I mean, you look at Google and you say, I can become an authority on Google.
On Google.
And I can, on Google. You know, you can do that through pay-per-click campaigns. You can do that through SEO. You
All
can
the
do that through
traditional
blogs
means.
and all
Right.
the traditional means you can do that. But then there's something else to have Google recognize you and be seen by Google
Yeah.
as an authority.
Yes.
Because when you're seen by Google as an authority, then Google pushes you to the top of everybody else. You are the perfect match. You are all of a sudden the expert or the authority
Yes,
on
right.
that brand or that position or that expertise. Google sees you as that. So being seen on Google is one thing, but being seen by Google is a whole different issue.
Yes. So this is amazing. So you're using 375 or more premium networks, like you said, CBS, NBC, Fox News, CW and more, to market you, so that Google then goes the next step of you being the authority, right, to Google seeing you as the authority. And in doing so, you create a tsunami, if you will, of credibility on Google all over the world that puts you on a whole different level or playing field than maybe anybody else. Because how do you compete with that? You can't write a story or do a press release in and of itself without having the power of magnifying these premium networks, getting out, and then sending the information back to Google. So you continue to rise in your Google score, right? So you end up with what Google score goes up to 100?
Yes, that's correct.
And so you're probably what, a 99?
Yes. So in that situation, what you're really doing, Nelson, that makes a difference in all the world is you're tagging yourself with already people, industries, leaders, right? CBS,
Yes.
NBC. If you look at YouTube has a 99 out of 100 score. I mean, it's huge. So what you're really doing is you're tying yourself into other domains.
Yes.
ABC, NBC, CBS, Boston Herald, Boston Times, Globe, whatever you're doing, wherever these are reaching out, you're tying it to their authority, which then gives you instant credibility and gives you authority.
Yes. So
you don't have to wait for your authority to get there. You're tying into somebody else's authority, then what in return makes you modified and also makes you powerful as everybody else. Does that make sense?
That makes all the sense in the world. So if I may, then you must have a very, very high Google score as well, since you're providing all these networks with the information that then they share with Google. So I'm guessing you have a 99 score as well.
It's kind of funny. You can go just Google Tom Chester, and if you can't find me, buddy, you're just not Googling the right name. TOMCHESSER.
Right.
And you're going to not only find me, which I don't write a lot of stuff about me. I promote my clients, my customers. I make them shine. I can take these people and I can actually edify how great they are. And the beautiful thing about what I do, Nelson, is I have got so many great people to talk about.
Yes.
There's so much good stories out there. There's so many amazing people that have authority that needs to be shared. And all I really do is I give them that third-party recognition.
Credibility, that's right.
Right. So it's not what you say about yourself, it's what other people say about you.
Yes.
So if I have all these major networks bragging about you all at the same time, what do you think Google's going to do?
I think they're going to take you and run with you to the top.
They're automatically going to see you as that authority.
Yeah.
So not too long ago, I was with one of my clients in Houston, Texas. His name is Daniel Gomez. I'll give him a shout out, Daniel. And Daniel Gomez inspires. And I was with him he was actually a speaker at a major event for a corporation. And he was talking on the subject matter of, I think, sexual harassment. But while I'm in the hotel with him, because I was there to get my passport to go to Nigeria.
Right.
That's another story.
Yes, a big one.
But anyway, I'm there. Oh, absolutely. So I'm in the hotel room with him, and I'm laying there on the bed. I got a massive headache, but somebody calls him up and says, "Hey, Daniel, I'd like to hire you for our company, and can you come speak on these dates?" So I'm listening to a little bit of the call, and Daniel's talking about how he is a motivational speaker, an authority coach, all the things that Daniel does. He talks about confidence and everything else that Daniel's powerful. But what then he comes back and says, he says, the secret thing that I heard and my ears perked up is when he asked, "How did you find me?" He asked her, "How did you find me? How did you hear about me?" You know what her response was?
What's his response? And we got to take a commercial break, Tom.
"You're number one on Google."
I love it.
You're number one on Google.
Tom, I hate to interrupt you. We got to take a commercial break. Folks, we'll be right back. I want to hear that story, Tom. I don't mean to be rude and interrupt you. Folks, Dr. Nelson Bulmash here. You're listening to another edition of Health Matters. Tom Cheshire is my guest, and we're talking about how to very, very effectively brand and position you on and offline. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
UI Media Network is proud to be associated with ShipCon as their media sponsor.
ShipCon is a social media conference for bloggers who really care about wellness, the environment, lifestyle, and food.
This movement towards cleaner products is not a fad because cancer and food allergies and autism are not fads.
It's really a place where people can come and learn and just fill their cup up with love and then go out there and educate their audience.
So guys, get ready to experience 3 days of learning about health and wellness, exploring the expo of sponsors, and networking with other influencers.
It's October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so go to shipconmedia.com to register now.
Health Matters is brought to you by our friends at North Fulton Apothecary, where they care about your health. 11940 Alpharetta Highway in Alpharetta. Call 770-475-8903 or visit them online at northfultonrx.com.
Hey everybody, Dr. Nelson Bulmash here. And before I get started, I want to give a shout out to one of my sponsors. I want to introduce you guys to a better way to fill your prescriptions. My friends at North Fulton Compounding Pharmacy has been compounding quality customized prescriptions for over 30 years. Their service is centered on you, the customer, and your personal care. North Fulton Compounding Pharmacy specializes in providing medications for patients with bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, autoimmune diseases, and those who are unable to take commercially prepared medications because of allergies or sensitivities to dyes and fillers. Josh and his team of highly trained pharmacists care about your needs, and they provide that personal touch that is missing from most pharmacy experiences. They educate their patients about lifestyle changes and provide guidance on how and when to take their medications. If your life and health depend on it, North Fulton Compounding Pharmacy can make a difference, serving North Fulton and surrounding areas. They are located at 11940 Alpharetta Highway in Alpharetta. Call 770-475-8903 or visit them online at northfultonrx.com. All right, folks, I'm back, and I have a fascinating friend and guest, Tom Cheshire. I am so sorry I interrupted you. Go back. I'm going to take you back. Put another 10 seconds on the clock for you, sir. You were talking, I believe, about Daniel Gomez and how he hired you. Am I correct?
Yeah, we're basically talking about he got a phone call while he was sitting at a meeting that he was doing. A client wanted to hire him. And after the conversation, and he explained what he does and worked out the schedule, then he asked the client, he says, "How did you hear about me?" And all of a sudden, my ears perked up. I wanted to hear this one because her response was, "You're number one on Google. I looked up and I found you and your company, Daniel Gomez Inspires, to be number one on Google." And I'm grinning at Daniel because I'm laying there saying, "Who do you think got you there, Daniel? I mean, yeah, come on, buddy. Yeah, how do you think?"
Bonus check in the mail.
Yeah, bonus check in the mail. That's exactly what I was saying. My raise is coming soon,
there
buddy.
You go. It's incredible. So you're really. I love the fact that you use the notion of a superhero because you're a game changer. You were a guy that. I'll be honest with you, Tom. I'd never heard of you before. You called me and said, "Hey, I want to introduce myself. I'm Tom Cheshire. I know you don't know me, but you have had coincidentally, a number of your people, the people you work with, on my show." I thought that was so awesome that you gave me a call and said, "We need to meet. I'm coming to Atlanta. I'm going to work with them, but I want to introduce myself to you." And it was such a pleasure to do that. And I found out so much about you. And I get that you're a giant maker. You're a game changer. And I am so grateful that I have you on the show, and I'm so grateful that I've spoken to you because you've given me ideas to take not only my show, but my professional business as a chiropractor, naturopath, and nutritionist to a whole different level. I want to talk to you about that. So let's look at this idea of becoming the superhero. How do you help someone tap into their own superhero status?
Well, number one, it's very important when you talk to a business to find out what their brand is. Like, what is your brand? Okay. And what you do, and who is your audience? Who are the
Right.
people that you want to reach? You're a chiropractor by trade and you want to reach a certain amount of people that have a need. So, first of all, you got to find out what type of superhero you want to be. So, if I was asked Nelson right now, what superhero would you be? What would you tell him?
I've always gone with Superman.
Oh man, you stole my character,
I
man. But I'll
know.
let you have Superman.
I'm sorry. Hey, can we share him? I think he's got enough power for both of us. All my life as a kid, it was always Superman.
That's all right. You can be Boy Wonder. I don't care. You know. But it's amazing that when you identify who you are
Yes.
inside and you find out what difference you can make,
Right.
By identifying what type of superhero you want to be. Now, because like I told you, a superhero is somebody that sees a need, finds a solution, and saves the day. Everybody needs a superhero, Nelson. Everybody wants a superhero.
Right.
Business wants superheroes. They want somebody that can step in there and fill the need to get their message out there all the time the way they want it told. They're looking for somebody to get out there and market their business the way they wanted it marketed.
Sure. Right.
You want to tell your story and you want your story to make a difference. So the first thing you do is you identify what kind of superhero they are by pulling that out. A lot of businesses don't really know how they can make a difference. So if I'm asking you as a plumbing contractor, I'm asking you, what makes you unique and different? That's a big question. What makes you unique and different to stand out? How come you think you're the best choice out of anybody there's to choose in your profession? You're the person that they need to call on.
Right. So,
and a lot of times that's what you need to identify. So what would, in your business as a chiropractor, what makes you unique and different?
I am, first of all, I'm very skilled. I'm a very competent healthcare professional. Secondly, not only am I a chiropractor, but I'm a naturopath and I'm a nutritionist. So I have 3 different hats that I can analyze a person's health from. So, for example, if somebody's having forearm pain, it might be that they've simply overdone their tennis swing. It might be that their tennis swing isn't a good swing, that it needs to be modified by a competent coach. But it could also be that they've got, in acupuncture, we realize that the colon has a meridian, an energetic channel that supports the colon. And so it runs from the shoulder down through the arm. And so a lot of people that have things like elbow problems have small or large intestinal issues. So by knowing that, not only can I do neurologic work to make sure that the muscles innervated in the forearm are working better, I can also do mechanical work, making sure the alignment is better. But I also know that if you have weakness of the small and large intestine, it predisposes you to weakness of the muscles of the forearm, shoulder, and upper arm. So you're more susceptible to problems, so that if your swing is off or your swing is too hard or you've done too much volume of swinging, you can have a problem. So I draw experience from all 3 of those, and I'm also very creative. I've actually developed my own technique called Torque Reset, which helps me be even more effective in correcting whether it be spinal or extremity issues like that of an elbow injury, I should say.
Absolutely. So you see yourself as a superhero and you're different and unique. Okay.
I do.
The superpowers that you have is what you developed in your practice to make a difference in all the world. But you see a need.
Yes.
Because without that need. So when people walk into your practice, do you automatically identify that need? Do you analyze that need? And what do you do to make that difference?
I look at them from the 3 different perspectives that I mentioned a moment ago to find out what's driving the weakness, what's driving the disease, what's driving the condition. And so it's provided through my evaluation.
Absolutely. So now that you've evaluated everything, you know that you have the solution. Now it's time to make the sale. And once you've solved the need, it's easier to actually make the sale. Is that not correct? Because without a need, right? There's no solution. Without a solution, there's no
sale.
Absolutely. So, by doing that, you got to bring that out. So, I write a lot of amazing stories. I've got some great clients that I can share with you that I absolutely, some of them are in your neck of the woods, Butta B. Rocka Robinson.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. International singer, songwriter, amazing speaker, has her book. It's on fire, Fear of Failure, Fear of Not Trying.
Yep.
I wrote the story about that. And Les Brown, her book actually made Amazon #1 bestseller in just 7 hours.
Wow.
That's how kind of story that she had. But she finds the world through not only, an actress, an international songwriter, and a singer,
Right.
but, her story from tragedy to triumph. The article that I wrote actually says going from a shooting star to a fallen star to a superstar, the Butta B. Rockin' Robinson story.
Is that your line, Tom?
That's my line, buddy.
You are amazing. I read that and I went, whoa, I love this. Who came up with this line?
Because the tragedy led to her triumph.
That's
and
right.
Butta didn't stop there. Butta kept going on.
Yes.
Butta experienced after the car accident. You can read her book. I can steal a little bit from it. But basically, she's gone from tragedy to triumph.
Right.
Not too long ago, she sang at City Summit City Gala, which is a red carpet event.
Yes.
In Burbank, California, after the Oscars night. She sang a song, So Will I. It was so moving and compelling that people jerked out their checkbook, because this is a nonprofit deal where these celebrities are writing out money for nonprofits and donating. You could see them literally
Tom,
adding more zeros to the check.
My friend, was in the audience listening to Butta sing. I was at the event in Burbank, and I watched people pull out their checkbooks and write checks to the nonprofit. So I actually got to see exactly what you just described. It was amazing.
Well, I got to meet Butta after her song, and she was sitting at a table near the restaurant of the convention center, the hotel we were staying at, because I'm covering the event as a PR guy. I'm there with some of my other clients.
Right.
So I get to sit down with Butta, and Butta was really hurting. Nobody realized that Butta sang on that stage absolutely in pain, Several appearances before, she had fallen off of the stage. She had hurt her arm, dislocated her shoulder.
Yeah.
She had messed up her knee. She went on and kept her schedule and went to several other events. But right then and there, I could look in her eye and see the pain. I got to talk to her, and then I got to hear her story. And I said, "But I really got to share your story, man. I got to really do this." She said, "Okay, I want to hire you to do that." Well, that all worked out good.
Right.
But then Butta, what people don't know, Butta came back home after that. And the doctor said, you're going to have an operation on your knee. And you're going to go in, and we're going to just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You'll be out of here just really fast, in and out kind of deal. Well, she wakes up and comes out of the days and finds out that she's not going to be able to perform for a whole entire year.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I talked to her about it. Yep.
That's devastating enough. And in the same phone call, I had just put out the press release. I just put out the article, distributed out there. It was growing like wildfire. Everybody was paying attention to how great she was. Get the phone call from Butta that, basically not only did that happen, but then her grandma passed away.
Yeah, I remember.
But, Butta, my next article for Butta Baraka Robinson is going to be, there is no but, B-U-T. There is no but in Butta B. Rocka story, because Butta hasn't let that hinder her one bit, my friend.
She is unstoppable. What did she do during that break? You know what she did when she couldn't perform? She wrote her book.
Yeah, the book.
Right.
The book.
I mean,
and it became a number one bestseller.
I know. So most people would be, needing endless therapy because their career was stopped again for the second time. The first time by a severe auto accident.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does she do? She says, okay, I can't perform. I'm going to write a book about my life. And then it becomes, on Amazon, a number one seller in 7 hours.
7 hours. Les Brown endorsed it, did the video. That's in the article. It's amazing to me. But, not only did that happen, I mean, you also know the story about her boys, the 16 and 17-year-old sons, Christian and Corey.
Yeah.
Basically, they've got their own teen magazine called Defiant Ones.
Yes.
So Butta and them have put together a teen magazine that is taking the world by storm right now. Matter of fact, the Defiant Ones is going to be picked up by local schools, used as an example of how strong young people can be and young people are.
I love it.
Because it's a magazine wrote by teens, for teens, showing not to be defiant, but to defy all the odds.
To defy all. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
Defy all the odds to become successful. In that magazine, it's got a lot of great stories. I got one of my clients' story in there, Isabella Segura, who at 8 years of age has been bullied for the last 8 months and has been fighting bullying online and offline. She's been on more stages and just received a humanitarian award for stopping bullying online and offline.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. And it's not, that doesn't stop. Then the next magazine is coming out here in a couple more days. I mean, I can't wait to read this one. But that magazine literally went off the shelf. I mean, really, in less than 2 weeks. I mean, what, 9,000 copies were sold?
Over 9,000. Tom,
Absolutely.
we got to take a quick break, my friend. This is very exciting. We'll be back, folks. Dr. Nelson Bulmash here. You're listening to another edition of Health Matters. We'll return. My guest is Tom Cheshire, and we're talking about how to brand and position yourself on and offline. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is Kurt Arsenault of Arsenault Advisory Group. Do you make a six-figure income but live paycheck to paycheck? You're not alone. Many six-figure income households will buy too much home and too much car, creating tremendous financial stress that builds debt when you should be building wealth. If you make six figures and live paycheck to paycheck, visit arsenaultadvisory.com and download our free ebook titled, I Make Six Figures and Live Paycheck to Paycheck. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. Visit arsenaultadvisory.com today.
Health Matters is brought to you by our friends at North Fulton Apothecary, where they care about your health. 11940 Alpharetta Highway in Alpharetta. Call 770-475-8903 or visit them online at northfultonrx.com.
And we're back. Get ready to experience 3 days of learning about health and wellness at the ShiftCon Expo, sponsored by the Living Foods Institute. This weekend, October 3rd through the 5th. Go to shiftconmedia.com and enter the promo code UIMedia for a 30% discount from your tickets. Tomorrow on the Good Intention Show, join host Tim Ray as he interviews pop singer Norwood. They're going to be talking about living your authentic self. That's tomorrow on the Good Intention Show at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're back. Tom, I want to commend you. You're really quite a character, and there's so many things I love about you. One of the things that I love about you is something that I see in myself, and that is we are very committed to taking incredible people who may or may not already be well known and giving them a stage to stand upon and to speak to the world about the gifts that are, whatever it is that they're, I know you don't like the word expert, but that they're authorities in, that they're great in. So we get to share their greatness with the world. And it's amazing for me to have someone on here who I know has such a wonderful message that it can help change thousands and thousands of people's lives through what we bring. And you do it from a different perspective, but nonetheless, we team up, and so we allow people the opportunity to be introduced to other people who are amazing at what they do. And I love that about you, and thank you for allowing me to join your team, so to speak, and you mine, and help the world be better by having great people that we share to the world.
Absolutely. And you're doing a great job doing that. I mean, you've had some other people on your show. Shay Levister, your Love Diva. I think we mentioned her already.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Her mobile app, The Cup of Love.
Yep.
You download it on your phone. You can get an inspiration every day.
Single day.
An affirmation, man, of how powerful and wonderful you are.
Yes.
Those are the kind of people that I love to represent. And it's not hard doing what I do. When you surround yourself with such great people.
Right.
It's all about the story. It's all about that content that these people have. They are, to me, extremely amazing people.
Yes.
Shay Levister, Love Diva, coach. Man, I love the way Shay is probably one of my favorite clients of all time. I got to say that because she has got so much going in her direction. And from her book, her app, her coaching, her courses, everything. Shay is just really doing a great job out there sharing. What do we all like to share, Nelson?
We love to share who we are. We love to share what we do. We love to share our gift.
That's right. And Shay is your love diva.
I'm so sorry.
You had her on the show.
I dropped the ball. She's your love diva.
That's it. Your love
sorry
diva.
about that.
Talks about everything love like she did on your show.
Everything love.
That was a wonderful show. I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of listening to that and watching that with her, and actually broadcasting. I did the article about her being on your show.
Yeah, and I have to share with you. I'm so grateful because I turned around. I got analytics from that press release, and I had 375, as I recall, 375 premium networks that shared that press release. Thank you, Tom.
Absolutely. You're welcome,
Thank
Nelson.
you.
And by the way, Nelson, I'll be writing up the story about me and you today, too. Just want to let you know, buddy.
I appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
That's a bonus check for you, my friend.
I love it. Hey, listen, Tom, I want to go into another question here for you. I want to talk about the 9 ways we reveal your superpowers. I think we need to cover that.
Absolutely. It's very important for you to understand that you are a superhero. That's most important at all. You have something unique and different that somebody else's need that can change a life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So one of the best ways that you can do that is find out who is the person that you need to save and what are you saving them from.
Right.
Everybody needs somebody to save somebody. And in that situation, who is the person that needs you to save them? And then also, what are you saving them from? They have an enemy. They have something out there that nobody else has. That's a villain in their life, and they need help, right?
Yep.
So in your business, they need help with pain. They need an alignment. They need something to re-straighten back and get them perfectly aligned and in tune. So you are providing that. So you need to come back in there. You need to understand that need provides a solution and you're helping somebody. That's very important to identify yourself as a superpower. And then what kind of powers, what kind of solutions are you providing? What are you providing your client, as that superpower to do that exact same thing that you're wanting them to do to get ahead? You provide that with them. And a lot of times we use, testimonials a lot of times of what our clients say about us, right?
Right.
A lot of times we need people supporting what we do by saying how great we are. So I incorporate as a superhero all the people that are screaming up and down, hey, you saved my life, you saved my life, you saved my life, you saved my day.
Yes.
As a backup to say how wonderful that you are, because people need to be given that accomplishment. And we don't get enough. You got to honestly admit to me,
Absolutely.
we don't get enough recognition for what we do.
Yeah. I say one of the biggest issues in our society is lack of effective recognition for who we are and what we do. Everyone wants and needs to be recognized for who they are and what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in your office and I took the pictures, and I really need to start. I need to do something with those, because those pictures, you holding up a trophy. You had won an award, and you were really proud of that. I could see you were proud of that, but who else knows about that? It sits on your shelf.
Nobody really.
Not a lot of people do.
No.
But I can write the story about how you won the award, have you hold up the award, take a picture with the award, how you won the award, who will give the award to you, how you appreciated it, how hard you worked to get that award, and what you did to deserve it. And I can also write that story to show and give you the recognition that you deserve for your achievement and for your award, which I think we're lacking in today.
Yeah.
I've won hundreds of awards.
Right. I mean, Tom, it's interesting because we have so many people, I know in your circles and mine, that can you imagine if some of the people that you represent, if they didn't have someone like you to bring them to bear before the world, so the world got who they were. They would just be these incredible people doing their incredible thing in a small pond, and nobody in the world would know beyond their small community who they were and where they did what they did. So, we all have a role to play. Your role is your giant. I think of you as a giant maker or superhero maker, or the person that reveals one's super nature to themselves and then to the world. And so I so appreciate that, because you can be great at what you do. I have no idea how to be effectively recognized by the world at large as to what I do. And so I'm gonna accept that gift you're gonna honor me with, and I will applaud you in advance of all the goodness that you will provide me with by writing that. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome, because I believe we honestly need to get the word out of how great people are,
yes,
how they can make a difference. There's not enough of that in the world today. All we hear is the negative stuff. All we hear is the bad news.
That's right.
It's time for us to get on top of this thing and turn it around. To change the world for the better, you got to be able to tell better stories.
That's right.
You got to provide it. And people don't realize that the media is just the media's got a bad rap for a lot of that. And I know a lot of my colleagues and my friends have actually walked away from their position because they didn't want to tell the bad story.
I'm glad to hear that.
Tell it that way.
Yeah.
They didn't want it to be shared that way. They have literally walked away from their job. Some have lost jobs because they told stories. Then they got in trouble for telling stories that they didn't even believe in themselves. They had to write it because who wanted it that way? The ratings wanted it that way.
Oh,
honestly.
I detest that.
So,
yeah,
so I do too. And that's not what I do. I
Not-
don't do anything negative. I don't do anything like that. It's all good news.
right.
And by doing that, I show the power of the people that you guys are wonderfully and you're great. And you need to be shared. You need to be told. And those stories need to be shared among thousands, if not millions. And you know, the funny part about that is I can write an article up. I can write an article up about you tomorrow. Usually they say my articles are going to take between 24 to 72 hours to get published.
Yes.
You know how long it usually takes that article to get published?
No,
Less than 8 hours.
Wow.
I've had them up there within 2 hours. Do you want to know why, Nelson?
Yeah.
Google is hungry.
Yes.
Google is starving for that kind of exposure.
Right. Right.
They're looking for the worthy story that needs to be told about good things out there.
And you have the credibility. You've proven over and over again that you're the real deal, and what you present, therefore, is the real deal. And so you have credibility. And so they trust what you're saying, and they market it accordingly or distribute it accordingly.
Absolutely. They grab it up.
They grab it up.
I'm glad. I really am glad. I mean, clients have asked me, can you get this out? I mean, well, you know, sometimes it might take 24 hours, 70 hours. Well, I got it out in 3 hours. And they're like, what?
Wow.
It's up there? Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's there. But, you know, it's a story of you that makes all the difference in this world.
Right.
And the story of you is helping somebody else, which is becoming that superhero that I keep talking about. And I believe each and every one of my clients are superheroes. I believe you are a superhero. I believe Tim Ray. And Tim, how you doing? This is your network, buddy. I love you, man. You and Shannon are awesome. I'll just give you a plug and you send me a check, okay? But the situation, this is what you guys are changing the world by getting your message out there. And I'm just the extra add-on, you know, for expanding your network, expanding your reach, getting people to pay attention to more of what you do. I mean, there's the stories. I mean, I could go on. The Valisa Winslow is here in San Antonio, Texas. She's my host on Rise Up San Antonio. I'm fixing to start Rise Up Atlanta here shortly.
I love it. I want to be part of that.
And you will be part of that, my friend. And that's Rise Up is to inspire, connect, transform, and impact the lives of the people that live in your city to make the difference.
Yes.
You can make a difference. All of us working together can make a difference. So Valisa Winslow became my client, but Valisa Winslow is one of the strongest young ladies I have met. 22 years in the military, serving in the Air Force. Matter of fact, that lady is so dedicated. I mean, it wasn't too long when she was in the military. Guess what? Somebody blew up an IUD. Boom, right where she was in the building she was at. Valisa ended up getting a brain aneurysm and a tumor, but yet she didn't let anything stop her. She has become one of the greatest people. She's had circumstances in her life just drag her down time and time again, but she is one of the most innovative and creative young Americans today that is making a difference in our city here in San Antonio, Texas. So I was excited to bring her on as a guest and a host on my business for Rise Up.
Sure.
You know, and her book is phenomenal. Everything she's doing out there is great. I just had to give her a plug because she has done so much to help my brand move forward. But, you know, it's really the story and the power of her that gets out there.
And Tom, what's the name of her book? Let's give her a plug.
Rape the Silencer is the name of her book. And she has a workbook that goes along with that. And her story is at a young age, she was raped. Okay. And basically overcoming that as one of the obstacles in her life and not letting her get down. But Rape the Silencer. And then she has a book, also a workbook to go along with that. And I'm really proud of what she's doing. She's not letting any of that hold her back. She has gone out here and established herself as not only a veteran for 22 years helping the military, but she's also got all kinds of certificates and degrees and everything else helping businesses from a woman-owned business and everything. So when you look at the power of the person, of that person right there can change the world by what she does. But what you got to look at is the fact of where she's been, coming from tragedy to triumph, like the Buddha story.
Right.
All these stories have led to greatness. And, you know, that's the key. So when you look at that, or you look at Isabella Segura, the little 8-year-old being bullied and now becoming getting an award. Absolutely.
Yeah. Award-winning spokesperson as an anti-bully authority.
And on the magazine of Defiant Ones. I mean, you look at that, or you look at Nova, who's on the front cover of Defiant Ones as a teen rapper.
Yeah.
You look at all these stories of all these powerful young people out here. I'm telling you right now, we don't need to be scared of the youth of today. we worry about the millennials so much. But I'll be honest with you, my grandson, who now is 10 years old, is one of the smartest kids I've ever met. That kid is educated. I mean, that kid's smart.
It's interesting. On the millennials' behalf, I have to say this, and then we'll take a commercial break. I remember my parents. I remember my grandparents, one of my grandparents thinking, and some of the other elders in the community, what are we going to do? How can we ever rely on what, of course, is now my generation? They figured it out. We'll figure it out. We'll be right back, Tom. We're going to take a quick commercial break, everyone. You betcha, Tom. We'll join you in a moment. Let our sponsors get a word in.
Hey Atlanta, a lot of people these days imagine their retirement kind of like an endless drive in a gas guzzler, worried they're going to run out of gas. Only in retirement, it's running out of money. At CFK, we encourage our clients to think of retirement as an epic journey. And on this journey, you're going to need to know where you are now, where you're headed, and how to get there. We create the roadmap for your entire trip and guide you along the way. You can get started by meeting with Frank Kelly in person if you're in the Metro Atlanta area. Visit cfkfinancial.com or just reach out to have a chat with Frank at 678-784-4090. CFK Financial is retirement well planned. Frank Kelly is an investment advisor representative of Retirement Wealth Advisors Incorporated, an SEC-registered investment advisor. CFK Financial, Retirement Wealth Advisors, and the United Intentions Network are not affiliated.
Health Matters is brought to you by our friends at North Fulton Apothecary, where they care about your health. 11940 Alpharetta Highway in Alpharetta. Call 770-475-8903 or visit them online at northfultonrx.com.
All right, folks, we're back for our last quarter-hour session. Tom, this goes by way too fast. I want to do something with you where we have a few hours to do our deal, because 1 hour, not enough, just not enough. And before we go on, I want to reiterate, because this is so powerful what you did here, the 9 ways we reveal your superpowers. I just want to briefly go over those, okay? So everybody has those in order. Tom, is that okay with you?
Sure, go ahead. I got it in front of me. Go ahead.
Perfect. So first point, right, we're talking about the 9 ways we reveal your superpowers. This is very, very important. So someone can connect with how big they are, what epic superhero they have maybe lying dormant within them. Number 1, and then your name. I'm guessing you mean the superhero name that you go by here?
No, I was saying you can go by, hey.
Or your name or the superhero name?
Nelson protects your superhero name, your name. Nelson protects who, or you can say superhero protects who.
Yeah.
So however you want to do that. So you could use that as coming from yourself. Go ahead.
All right. That's point number 1. Your name and how you protect your clients from the big fear, the big enemy, whatever that may be. It may be that, for example, if I'm a chiropractor, it may be I get a lot of high-level athletes, or I have over the years, and it might be how I stop them from having time away from the game. Okay? Number 2, briefly explain how you're helping your prospects. So I'm guessing that is specifically that. What do you do? What service do you provide? What item do you have that helps meet the needs of a person where they're somehow failing, they're somehow having trouble working through some area, some process, or have some part maybe that they need that's more effectively manufactured, some way that you help them overcome a need. Okay? And number 3, 2 or 3 sentences quoting detailed the problem that you're solving, right? So we've got to have a brief synopsis of how you're helping them in 2 or 3 sentences with a problem that they can't seem to get beyond. They need your superpower heroes to find resolution or a solution to a particular problem.
Absolutely.
Okay. And number 4, set up a well-known industry expert as agreeing with you. That's a powerful one. So find some authority figure that supports who you are and what you do. Okay. Number 5, get a quote from the industry expert or experts that back up your previous statement. So in other words, we're gaining high credibility here by having people of authority agree that we are who we say we are, and we do what we say we do. Okay. Number 6, 2 or 3 sentences about how you're going to solve the problem that people are experiencing. Almost done here. Number 7, get lots of great testimonials. Number 8, Get quotes from your, and this is, I'm so happy you have this down. I just have never been good about getting quotes from my clients and customers. One of the things people actually say is, how come somebody with your skill set has so few people who give you testimonials? And it's just because I forget to ask them. Tom, I'm asking you now in advance. Please give me a testimonial.
I will definitely give you a testimonial.
And then
for 20% off on all chiropractic care.
There you go. There you go. All right. And lastly, close and call to action. Any other comments you want to make about those? I just wanted to have those in order for everybody.
Yeah, that's absolutely, because you mentioned those earlier, and I definitely wanted to come back to that. And I had that paper in my hand. It's very important for you to follow. So if you go look up Tom Chesser, entrepreneur, awarded an authority agency in San Antonio, serving the great state of Texas, you're going to find all those techniques within that article.
Yes.
And you're going to find the backing. For authority branding and positioning, that's not something new.
No.
That's something that's been around.
Yes.
But it's something that there's a book out there that was wrote, Duct Tape Marketing, which talks about and says that without authority branding and positioning, you're falling behind in your industry. You're losing the race. Forbes magazine talks about it. It's also been on today's show.
Right.
It's been in different places. So you need that solidification and that backing and support from other experts that talk about what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And we go get our education, we go get our backing, we get everything we do, but we really don't always talk about the things that we've learned and how we apply them. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And Tom, I have to say, I love your motto. This is so important. Without a need, there's no solution. Without a solution, there is no sale. So really what we as entrepreneurs, as business owners doing is we're looking for the specific need that we can fulfill so that we can make the sale, help the person we're providing the solution for, and then of course staying effectively in business as such by doing so.
You're absolutely right. I've been in sales for a whole lot. I was a trainer. I was Southwestern Bell's #1 go-to guy. And I help salespeople understand how to make a presentation. But not only, the #1 thing is they had to do a needs evaluation. If they didn't find out what that need was first, and they just came in there and said, "Well, open up the phone book. On page 683 is your ad. Tap page ad. What changes or what would you like me to do now?"
Yes.
The deed is you got to find out what that need is. If you don't know that need right up front, so you need to do a needs analysis for each and every one of your clients. If you don't find out, so I need to know what you need from me in order to get your story out there. Is that not correct?
That's correct. And it's so interesting, Tom, because how hard, really, think about the easiest sales you've ever done. They sell themselves. Meaning, when you say to somebody, you're having a problem, here's your breakdown right here. To fix that, we should do this, this, and this. They step into it automatically because it is a clear-cut solution to the problem that's stopping them from performing or selling whatever services or goods they're providing.
Absolutely. So if they came into your chiropractic clinic and you just threw them on a table and said, "Here, I'm going to do this pop, this pop, this pop," you're done.
You're done. They're not coming back.
What do you think? They're not coming back.
No, they're not coming. I didn't find what problem they needed a solution to fix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where you hit it on the head every time. Finding the need. Without a need, there is no solution. Without a solution, there is no sale. And you have to I present my articles that way. I find out what the need is. I provide the solution. I make the sale. And when I'm designing an article for you or anybody else, the first thing I write is I'm going to be writing the header. I'm going to write a compelling 20-word character statement that wants them to read the article. Then I'm going to write the summary. I'm not even going to write the article, the 800-word article, until I've got the header and the summary. You got to keep the end in mind. I want you to understand that.
Okay.
What are you wanting to get out of it?
Got it. Tom, I want to hit another area that is so important, and nobody's ever really spoken to me about this. You and I spoke about the three foundational things or issues that really help a search engine optimization in Google. Let's talk about those: quality, quantity, and consistency.
Exactly. Every SEO expert out there will tell you there's three foundational legs that any campaign stands on in order to be successful on Google. And those three legs are quality, quantity, and consistency. The quality, of what we do is so valuable because what we're doing is we're providing you quality recommendations and recognition on major media sites. Okay. Number one.
Okay.
The quality is there. Each one of these media sites that I put you on, ABC, NBC, CBS, they all have high domain authority. Their website is highly sought after, and Google sees that and promotes them up above everybody else. So in that situation, I'm putting you with quality. I'm hooking you up with other quality domains to get your domain higher, right?
Love that idea.
Absolutely. Consistency is sending that same article out. I mean, all over every media channel, whether it's radio and TV or magazines or industrial feeds or financial feeds, that article goes out. Your story goes out and it's consistent all the way across the board. Am I right?
You're right.
So it's story. And then the quantity is 375 little friends of yours out there that are just bragging to death to tell your story. So you got 375 well-known, recognized media networks out there that just say, hey, you're better than sliced bread.
Yeah.
We want to promote you. So it's those three things that every SEO person wants to incorporate in order for Google to drag them up to the top. And it just so happens that we use those in everything we do.
Tom, do you need to have, is it imperative? I mean, I know, I know you're gold.
Okay.
I know you're gold. I know that everybody who hears this would think, I got to have Tom to help me. Is it possible for somebody on a limited income who's starting out with a business to do a lot of what we talked about without an expert like you? Is that possible?
It is really hard. I mean, you could go out here and try to get your rankings. You can go out and get reviews. You can do a whole lot of stuff and hit and miss. But it's really important to have an expert, just like you're an expert in what you do.
Right.
It'd be really hard for somebody to come in and adjust themselves or get themselves well without having an expert do it. You need somebody that knows and understands Google, that is ranked in Google, that does with Google, lives, breathes Google to help you out. If you don't have an expert to do that, you could go. Matter of fact, in the industry, there's two things that are in the industry that people have to face. They're called white hat techniques and black hat techniques.
What's the difference?
There are some companies. The difference is the white hat techniques are what Google accepts. Google acknowledges what Google has to have in order for that story to get where it needs to be. You try to go outside of Google. You try to skip Google. You try to fool around with Google. You try to do something that Google rules and regulations or analytics are not going to allow. You can literally destroy your image. I had one client not too long ago. He had a website. Everything was going good. He was up at the top. He was great. He was on the front page of so many sites. And he turned around and called me. He said, Tom, man, what's happened here? All of a sudden, man, I can't believe this. I'm nowhere in sight. I'm not up there. I'm not on 8th page, 9th page, 10th page. What's going on here? And then what I realized when I ran the analytics on Google for him, I found out, you know what he did? He went to his website and he added 20 more pages to his website for local neighborhoods in the Houston area. Okay. And basically by doing that, all he put was one review under each location.
Wow.
And he didn't have an office under those locations. Google realized that what he was trying to do was to make himself look more important and have more locations. Well, Google came out and Google just cut him off completely.
Wow.
So what ended up happening is he had to go get a whole brand new website. He had to go start all over from scratch. He had to change his URL. You were no way in the world ever going to get that back off there. And there's companies out there that use these black hat techniques to drive people to the top of Google.
Yeah.
And man, you're there. They say you're there. Within 24 hours, I can have you. Within the same day, I can have you there. That's not really totally right if they're trying to fool with Google.
Got it.
So the black hat techniques are everything bad that Google doesn't want. You have to be very careful on how you do that. And if you do not know what you're doing, you can ruin your whole career, your whole image, your whole branding. You can trash everything you do. So whether it's me, if you're looking for somebody, if you're doing SEO, you're doing social media, if you're doing web design, if you're doing all the things you need to do to get to Google and get you out there, you basically need some help.
Got it.
Because without it,
you can't move forward. Tom, we got 30 more seconds, my friend. What else can't you do on Google?
Well, basically the thing you can't do on Google is you can't put links that are not connected to your link. You can't do that. That's a no-no. You can't stuff AdWords into your campaign, just enlist a whole bunch of AdWords in there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And just stuff it. It's called AdWord stuffing. They will not do that. Backlinks that are not links, that are broken links, or links that are not your link and your fruits and using somebody else's, then basically you can Google put you to the curb.
All right.
Google changes their spiders and their analytics every
Tom, I hate to do it, but I got to wrap it up. The last thing you can't do, folks, is you can't nap on Google. Tom, it's been a pleasure. Hang on. I'm going to close out the show. Folks, you've heard another edition of Health Matters with me, Dr. Nelson Bulmash, and my guest, Tom Cheshire. Catch us live in 2 weeks. I'll be back. Thank you for joining us. Tom, thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of Health Matters with Dr. Nelson Bulmash, where we help you discover how to ignite your mind, body, and spirit connection. Join us next time when we will bring you more exciting guests and engaging topics. Meanwhile, feed your mind, exercise your body, and nurture your spirit. The United Intentions Foundation and its associates take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests.